is Nishi Verma from Pune, and today is my first session. Just to tell you about the introduction of NoSQL. So I have 2 master degree, MCA and MSc Computer Science, and have some experience about teaching and training, and especially in database training. So I want to tell you about the NoSQL, and I will start with my presentation. So let me start. We'll start with the introduction to NoSQL. Look, what is NoSQL? We'll tell you about the NoSQL because this is the market where everybody want to know about the databases, but how database is going to increase day by day. This is necessary to know about that. So we'll start with the NoSQL, with the market analysis. Okay. So first you look about the market. When you go for the market research, so market survey says that organizations are now making strategies choice, looking at which database is useful for which purpose. So which ones the developer like to use, and trying to reduce the set. Actually, it is accepting the innovative and planning for it rather than trying to hold back the tide. So in modern scenarios, companies growing with huge amount of data, but the company grew, we had a hard time scaling it and finding appropriate data in small pieces of time. So for years, the default enterprises database have been based on the SQL. So as you can see, what we need right now, because the database is growing now, day by day it's growing now. So the database, we need that kind of database which is capable to handle explosion of social media sites, because social media sites is necessary in the modern scenario, just like Facebook, Twitter, okay, with the large data needs. Fine. Then explosion of storage needs in large websites such as Google. We are access Google in a day 1,000 times. So that is required. This is the required kind of area. Required database who can work on clusters. Database who is capable to tune with the 21st century, because upcoming century will grow with the million amount of data. Okay, so that is why it is necessary to go with that kind of database technology which is able to handle about the million kind of data, million number of data. Okay, so that is why I'm saying for years the default enterprise database have been based on the SQL, a programming language, the database from Oracle, Microsoft, just like SAP and many other companies periodically use. But increasingly, SQL databases are not an ideal fit for companies like Yahoo, Google, Crafts, online shopping websites, etc. Where daily million number of users visited many times and make their account with their personal information. So the traditionally SQL databases are based on rows and columns, all these having million records associated with million related records. So that time a column based system would have required just to hold thousands of columns and tabs. But for any given data, maybe only a dozen of them would be populated. So it just was not ideal for that kind of organization. So developer began playing with a new breed of database which is capable to hold clusters, which is capable to hold explosion of database, which is capable to hold websites database, just like that. So that developer began playing with a new breed of database referred to as NoSQL, which originally means not only SQL database. NoSQL is a small but growing segment of the database market, according to 451 researchers who predict it at about 2% of the size of SQL market. While it is an important segment, especially for the companies which big data needs that don't fit well into the traditional SQL database. For example, Crafts is now running on 108 server deployment, because in the olden era it is a legal company. In the olden time it was using the SQL server, which is not capable to handle million data. Okay, so that time it is required. That time they are growing up with the different database technology, and different database technology which is capable to handle million data, where multiple users can visit daily their database. So that time it is necessary to require a different database. That is why we're using NoSQL, because NoSQL is capable to do these kind of things. One of the leading document, NoSQL database, it holds 10.0 terabytes at a time of data and 1.5 million kind of records at a time. So documents are added just like this. So the new database process 5 times as many records per second. Who is working right now? It is faster than 5 times. So it's working great for different kind of organization which is holding a big amount of data. So that is why. So in the upcoming future, all scenarios will be going change according to the large data requirement. And in the near future, database must follow the next generation technology like NoSQL. Why will use the NoSQL? Give me some reasons. So look, there are so many reasons, but I will tell you only 5 reasons why we use NoSQL. Look, NoSQL is a top kind of database technology, because in the modern scenario, it is necessary to hold a clusters, collections like data. That is why we are using NoSQL. I have some reason, some bold reason to tell you. Look, if you are not using NoSQL database right now, so it is not possible, because I'm not all that surprised. Many IT shops are still evaluating moving from SQL servers like SQL Server 2000 to SQL Server 2005, much less than non-relational databases. A lot of people don't even know what they would use in NoSQL databases. Or does it replace RDBMS or do something else? There are some reasons why we are using the database, NoSQL database. Because this is analytical. One reason to consider adding a NoSQL database to your corporate infrastructure is that many NoSQL databases are well suited to performing analytical queries. Developer can use the same querying language to perform analytical queries that are used to perform atomic, and many NoSQL systems use phenomenal write performance. And we combine high write performance with batch processing results and still guarantee. When you combine high write performance with batch processing, it is easy to pre-aggregate data, summarize results, and still guarantee a high query performance. Second thing is scale. This is a scalable database. NoSQL databases are designed to scale. It's one of the primary reasons that people use a NoSQL database. Typically, with a relational database like SQL Server or Oracle, you scale by purchasing larger and faster servers and storage, or by employing specialists to provide additional tuning. Unlike relational database, NoSQL databases are designed to easily scale. So NoSQL databases are designed to easily scale out as they grow. Data is partitioned and balanced across multiple nodes in a cluster, and aggregate queries are distributed by default. Scaling is as easy as racking a new server and executing a few commands to add a new server to the cluster, so that data will start flowing and you will be back in business in no time. Okay, that is why scalability is required. So coming to the next feature, which is redundancy. This is the most important feature for any database, technology. So in addition to rapid scalability, NoSQL databases are also designed with redundancy in mind. These databases were designed and built in massive scale, where the rarest hardware problem go from being freak event to eventalizes. Hardware will fail. Rather than treat hardware failure as an exceptional event, NoSQL databases are designed to handle. While hardware failure is still a serious concern, this concern is addressed at the architectural level of the database. Rather than requiring developers, DBA and operations staff to build their own redundant solution, That is the flexibility of NoSQL. That is why it is very, very important part of database, or it is a new technology which must used by the users. The second thing is flexibility. What's the use of database if it's not flexible? While the data modeling issues are completely different in NoSQL, so there is a large amount of flexibility in how data is stored for performance. Database model like Big Data and Cassandra provide flexibility around how data is stored on disk. It's possible to create derived column families. In plain English, you can design your database to duplicate frequently accessed data for rapid query responses. So this is of course based on the assumption that write and storage space are cheap. So database based on the just like big table model also have another benefit, like outside of key structure, it's possible to store a variety of disparate data in the same table. Because it is necessary to structure is largely irrelevant. A relational database have adapt feature to solve a similar problem, but they are carry overhead storing widely different column in multiple rows. Multiple rows of the same column family is so cheap as to be invisible in a NoSQL database. So these are the features which is necessary to keep track with the database. Lastly, key value store provide an incredible level of the flexibility. Data is arbitrarily stored as a value. So the key value database make it possible to match images, Word document, strings, integers, and serialized objects within the same databases, which is possible by NoSQL. The last one reason is known as rapid development. Let's see about just facts. Look, everyone wants their application to be faster, have more features, and they want it yesterday. NoSQL database make it easy to change how data is stored or change the queries you are running. Look, massive changes to data can be accomplished with simple refactoring and batch processing rather than complex migration scripts and out tags, and it's even easier to make nodes in a cluster of line for changes and add them back into a cluster as the new master serves. So the replication feature will take care of sending up data and propagating the new data, design out to the other servers in the cluster. Now what says the market forecast? As I told you about the NoSQL database, because NoSQL database is required in the present scenario. That is why market is also giving the information about the forecast, also giving the information about the explosion of the new database technology. Because this is the upcoming requirement. This is not the requirement for present scenario. This is upcoming requirement. It will be huge in the upcoming days, in the upcoming years, upcoming months, may be possible. Look at this picture. The NoSQL database market is a small but increasingly important segment of the database market. And it's giving SQL databases, vendor and users are scared. See this figure shows the transaction detail for the SQL and NoSQL components. You can see in this figure, it says just overall big data database just 6 years. Projection is just like 33% only. Where the NoSQL projection are very strong from a small base. Just like you can see in this figure, this is only for 2011 to 2012. Growth rate is 99%. Because it is small. It is a small segment, but it's growing very fast. 2012 and 13 growth rate is just like 98%. So the NoSQL base is just like 0.2 billion in 2012. Only 16% of the combined SQL and NoSQL. As you can see in this figure, just like this. It is fluctuating between in 2012 and 2013. The NoSQL base is 0.2 billion in 2012. Only 16% of the combined SQL and NoSQL, and grows to in 2014 also. The equivalent SQL 6 years. projection is 26% from 1.0 billion in 2012. You can say this is the 84% of market. So the technology progression in data in DRAM memory and data in flash memory will improve the scalability of SQL databases. Almost all applications are easier to program and require lower maintenance if SQL is used. NoSQL has greater scalability and lower technology cost for a very large big data application. So the last line of the table within figure shows that the percent of the total big data market. This is, you can see in this figure, this is the row which is showing the big data market that is attributed to database. This declined from 10.7% in 2011 to 9.5% in 2017. The amount of data managed by database will grow rapidly, but the cost of database per unit of data will decrease. So the NoSQL databases are significantly lower cost than traditional SQL databases. And as they grow as a percentage of the market, they will manage the lion's share of data. SQL Big Data database will migrate to manage a smaller amount of high value data later in the cycle. Both SQL and NoSQL databases have strong roles to play in big data solution, but NoSQL is very frequent users. It will be a upcoming era because of low cost of technology and a big tolerance of fraud. That is why it is the one solution is a focus on developing cross-trained application and operation group that can use the right database technology for the appropriate business challenges. You can see in this slide, this is the fresh market survey. You can see the top 10 ranking. We are going to see, this is the MongoDB. This is the NoSQL database type. This is the new database technology which is known as No SQL. This is the type of NoSQL database. So according to this survey, market really growing up with this kind of database technology. You can see in this picture. You can see the score rate. You can see the score range. You can see the model type. All are relational DBMS, but the MongoDB is document store database type. And Redis is key value store database type. Cassandra is wide column database type. All these type of database, all these document, wide column store, key value store, this is in the top 10 ranking, and all these are the type of NoSQL database. So according to this survey, day by day its requirement is increasing, and due to this requirement, main power is also needed in this scenario. You can see in this picture, according to the market requirement, NoSQL requirement is going to upgrade day by day. So that is why when market required this kind of database technology, so of course it is also needed some people who can keep track with this kind of technology, who can work on that kind of technology. So that is why market requirement is also upgrowing. Market requirement is increasing day by day with the technology upgrading. Okay, so the future market ready to throw huge amount of jobs in this field. You can see the future of the new technology which is known as No SQL. You can see in this figure. This is about 2013 to 14. In this picture, you can see this is the part of Oracle. This is the part of MySQL, and all these parts are belonging this, just like HBase, Cassandra, Couchbase, all these. Okay. You can see the requirement of 2013-14, a popularity of 13-14, and the popularity about 14-15. You can see the figure. This is growing up day by day. This is the MongoDB and the type of NoSQL. You can say this is the type of NoSQL. So its market price or market value is growing day by day according to the requirement. That is why I am saying future market ready to throw huge amount of jobs in this field, and salary hike possibilities is on field. So you can say the market research or market popularity, according to the market popularity, it is a upcoming future. It is a upcoming era where you can see the new technology, or where you can keep track, where you can find the jobs in this kind of technology. So the ranking considered a lot of data from the various somewhere authoritative sources, just like number of mention of the system on websites measured through the search engine results, general interest in the system measured through the Google trends, frequency of technical discussion about the system measured through Stack Overflow and similar. Number of job offers in which system is mentioned measured through Indeed and similar kind of job areas. You can see why NoSQL, why to use NoSQL. Look, because this is easy, suitable for upcoming data explosion, not required to keep track with data structure, provide easy and flexible system. You can see in this picture, 3 billion global online population. Presently, 3 billion global online population is present. 35 billion per hours spent on mobile. 1.75 billion smartphone users are there. So, the database must be growing. Database must be count in million or billion. That is why it is necessary to keep track this kind of huge amount of data with the new technology who can tolerate the fault, who can never crashes your hardware, who is capable to tolerate the explosion of the database. Okay, that is why the database market continue to evolve. The line between database segment and beginning to blur. Oracle, a giant in the SQL database market, now has no SQL offer. Even within the new SQL market over there is emerging. Just like DynamoDB, for example, was a leading key-value storage database, but recently announced it would support JSON to become a document database. All that NoSQL type. NoSQL offerings are still evolving with ease of management, installation, and building of fault tolerance and reliability being keys that vendors are working. You can see the smooth process because we are using database because of NoSQL database because of their smooth process. As we are saying about the future of the database, in this figure, this strips showing its popularity according to their flexibility, its popularity according to user-friendly environment, its popularity to according the scenario, the fault tolerance, the flexibility kind of things. So that is why the popularity of NoSQL is increasing day by day. Okay, but it's equally clear that they are headed in the right direction, and that except for Oracle, the traditional relational database, but particularly MySQL are all taking a bit of beating at the hands of NoSQL database. In fact, why? Because NoSQL is appropriate, okay, measured slowly by the volume of mention, just like social media news, articles, and shopping websites kind of things. So the MongoDB, which is very, very popular in the market right now, MongoDB clearly dominates the database fields, which is most interesting in the media mansion. Most interesting in the media mansion data, however, is the boosting up. So all NoSQL are growing, and some quite subsequently and mostly at MySQL expenses. We are discussing about the why using NoSQL. Look, application developers have been frustrated with the impedance mismatch between the relational data structure and in the memory data structure of the applications. So using NoSQL databases allow developers to develop without having to convert in memory structure to relational structure. There is also movement away from using databases as integration point in favor of encapsulating database with the application and integrating using services. The rise of the webs as a platform also created a vital factor, change in data storage, as the need of support large volume of data by running on the clusters. So, because of explosion of data relational databases were not designed to run efficiently on clusters. So the data storage need often, just like ERP applications, are a lot more different than the data storage need of a Facebook or Twitter and all. For example, we are discussing about the smoothness of the NoSQL process. NoSQL process is very smooth because there is no row and column combination. It is not based on that kind of table relation. It is not like the SQL. That is why it is very smooth, and it can work as on the smooth track on the database technology. Just like if we will talk about the organization data. Organization data is growing up day by day. So the old system is not capable to keep track with all kind of data, all kind of historical data. So we need some new technology which is not dependent on the relational database, because relational database sometimes arises some problems. So we need that kind of database which can tolerance a hardware failure, which is capable to keep track with the new kind of data. That's why we're using smooth process of NoSQL. Now you can see the upcoming job trends, because I told you about the NoSQL popularity. It is growing, so that the job trends is also converted in different roadmap. So you can see in this picture, job trends for the NoSQL sector shows this is a good sector to be interested in, with MongoDB leading in the peak. You can see in this picture, there are so many databases which is showing by the lineup. Okay, you can see this is the simple DB, this is the CouchDB, MongoDB, HBase, Cassandra, Redis. All are the type of NoSQL. But you can see, according to the old database or traditional database system, NoSQL jobs are arising right now. So the job trends for NoSQL sector shows this is the good sector, and you can show the interest in this field with the different technologies, because all are growing up. You can see in this picture, MongoDB is on the peak using the fine trends calculator, just like at international recruitment specialist. You can see the Indeed.com. It is clear that since it first appeared in the NoSQL landscape in spring 2010, MongoDB has been seen. Interestingly, it exhibited a very similar trend to Hadoop, the parallel processing platform, which started its climb 2 years. So over recent months, CouchDB and SimpleDB have remained static, but Couchbase is increasing, although still well down. HBase, Cassandra, Redis, and to a lesser extent, just like all over the database, all over the type of NoSQL is booming on the market right now, showing the overall boom in the NoSQL job market. So comparing the statistic from Indeed and SimplyHive, the most recent survey in MongoDB jobs is global rather than US phenomenon. But wherever you are in the world, NoSQL currently offers great job opportunities. And according to the great job opportunities, it is capable to throw a hike on the salaries. So you can see in this picture, this is the salary hike, because when market required lots of manpower which is related to the NoSQL database technology, so of course market will throw a million jobs on this field, and according to the requirement, the salary hike must be increased. You can see, if you are able to understand about the market requirement, so of course you can understand about the hike of salaries for this job trends. Okay, so in this picture you can see the NoSQL database administrator post getting on the peak of the salary. So you can understand market needs manpower in the field of NoSQL, and according to the manpower, according to the job role, the salary will be high. Salary will be on the peak for the database administrator, for the database developer, for the database application designer. We want to discuss about the NoSQL. What is NoSQL? It is necessary to know about what is this technology, why I am telling you about this technology, because NoSQL, which encompasses a wide range of technologies and architectures, seek to solve the scalability and big data performance issues. So that a relational database were not designed to address like that. So the NoSQL is especially useful when an enterprise needs to access and analyze massive amount of unstructured data or data that's stored remotely on multiple virtual servers in the cloud. On the contrary, just the misconceptions caused by its name, NoSQL, does not prohibit because structured query language, everybody knows about the structured query language is known as SQL. While it's true that some NoSQL systems are entirely non-relational, others simply avoid selected relational functionality such as fixed tables, fixed table schemas, join operation, etc. For example, instead of using tables, a NoSQL database might organize data in objects, key value, and tuples. Okay? So, the most popular NoSQL database is Apache Cassandra, which was once Facebook proprietary database. Was released just like in 2008. So other NoSQL implementations include just like SimpleDB, Google Big Data Table, and Apache Hadoop, MapReduce, and CouchDB, and Walmart, just like. So companies that use NoSQL is known as just like very well known companies, just like Netflix, LinkedIn, Twitter, kind of things. These are the companies which is using NoSQL database. So the NoSQL database popularity is growing day by day. So that the most important result of the rise of NoSQL is polyglot persistence, because as I told you, this is hardware fault tolerance kind of database technology. That is why it is very famous kind of technology. Now come on the database scaling. I told you NoSQL is fault tolerance database technology. It is scalable. It is redundant. It is analytical. So what is the scaling? What is the database scaling? Look, database scaling in the RDBMS, in the Relational Database Management System, are scaled up by adding hardware, just like processing power. But NoSQL is scaled out by spreading the load. Why? This is, it can spread their load by partitioning, by replicating. So the scalability is just like to deal with the increase in concurrent users and the volume of data, applications, and their underlying data using one of two choices. Just as you can say scale up and scale out. Scaling up implies a centralized approach that releases on bigger and bigger servers. Scaling out implies just like a distributed approach, which is known as NoSQL. This is a scaling out. Okay, so the scaling out implies a distributed approach that leverages many standard commodity, physical or virtual servers. The relational DB scaling. The relational DB scaling, look, the relational database management system, which is known as scaling, which is not a scale out technology, which is not a scale out type. So at certain point, relational database won't be scaled. Why? The limits of scaling up with the relational technology. There are some limits. Due to this limits, relational database technology is not capable to keep track with the scalable technology. So at the web application, at the websites or application tier of 3-tier internet architecture, a scale out approach has been default for many years and has worked extremely well. As more people use an application or more commodity servers are added to the web or application tab, the performance is maintained by the distributing load across an increasing number of servers, and the cost scale linearly with the number of users. So the scale-up database tier with relational to support more concurrent users and store more data. Relational databases require a bigger and more expansive servers with more CPUs memory. Just like you can see in this figure, it is necessary to distribute the load just like this, because the Google Chrome, the web, the Firefox, the Internet Explorer, everybody is working on the a relational management system. So that it is necessary to distribute the load between all kind of different areas. So to support more concurrent usage and store more data, the relational database require a bigger and more expansive server with more CPUs, memories, disk storage, etc. At some point, the capacity of even the biggest server can be outstripped, and the relational database cannot scale further because there is a limit. So the relational database is not capable to keep track further this range. That is why prior to NoSQL databases, the default scaling approach at the database tier was to scale up. You can see in this picture. This is the area where we get bigger, more complex server. Okay, because server cost is growing now. So the fault tolerance is just like because user is growing up, but the technology is remaining same. So the scalability between both, it is not possible to keep track with the load. Okay, so that is why it is necessary to change the technology or change the scalability, because relational database is based on the scale-up database technology. So that time, at some point, the capacity of even the biggest server can be outstripped, and the relational database cannot scale further. That is why to support more concurrent users and store more data, you need a bigger server with more CPUs, more memory, more disk storage, just like to keep all the tables. So big server tend to be highly complex, proprietary, and this proprietary, just like expansive, unlike the low-cost commodity hardware typically, and used so effectively at the web and application server tier. So also with relational database technology, at some point the capacity of even the biggest server can be outstripped as user and data requirement continue to grow. At that point, the relational database cannot scale further and must be split across two or more servers. This introduced innumerous complexities because for both application development and database administration due to inherent limitations of relational database architecture. So it is not capable to tolerate the fault, or it is not capable to keep track with the scale with this kind of scale up technology. So that is why we required some different thing which can keep track, which can tolerate the fault of user, which can tolerate the load of user and keep track with the same technology. Okay? Because when user rate is growing, so it is necessary to our technology is must keep track or must follow the same path with the user growth. So now we come on the next, which is known as NoSQL DB Scaling. Look, this is the advantage of scaling out with NoSQL, because NoSQL database will develop from the ground up to be distributed. Scale out database that use a cluster of standard physical or virtual server to store data and support database operation. You can see in this picture, this is divided the load between in this area. So to scale additional server are joined to the cluster, and the data and database operations are spread across the larger clusters. Since commodity servers are expected to fail from time to time, but NoSQL are built to tolerate and recover from such failures, making them highly resilient. NoSQL database provide much easier linear approach to database scaling. For example, if 10,000 new users start using your application, simply add another database server to your cluster, add 10,000 more users and add another server. There is no need to modify the application as you scale, since the application always see a single database. So this is the scale out database because NoSQL database provide an easier, linear, and cost-effective approach to database scaling. As the number of concurrent users grows simply and additional low-cost commodity, there is no need to modify the application since the application always sees a single, or you can say the distributed at scale, a distributed scale out approach also gives the answer being less expensive and the scale up alternative. This is because large, complex, fault tolerance servers are expensive to design, build and support. So the cost of commercial relational database can also be prohibitive because they are priced with a single server in mind. But NoSQL database, on the other hand, are generally open source, priced to operate on a cluster of servers and relatively inexpensive, which is different from relational database. Clearly different from the relational database. So come on the characteristics. Look, every technology has some characteristics, and these characteristics must differ from other technologies. It is necessary because if your new technology have no different features, so why we will use the upcoming technology or new technology which is new in the market? So that NoSQL also have some characteristics. NoSQL database shares some characteristics with respect of scaling and performance. While implementations differ, NoSQL database shares some characteristics with respect to scaling and performance, just like first is auto sharding. Look, auto sharding is known as just like a NoSQL database automatically spreads data across server without requiring application to participate, so that server can be added or removed from the data layer without application downtime. With the data, or you can say the input output, automatically spread across the server. So the most NoSQL databases also support data replication, storing multiple copies of data across the cluster and even across data centers to ensure high availability and support disaster recovery. So the auto sharding is just like the properly managed NoSQL database system should never need to be taken off for any reason, supporting 24/7 continuous operation applications. Okay. Next is distributed query support. Sharding a relational database can reduce or eliminate the ability to perform complex data queries. Here, NoSQL database system retain the full query expansive power, even when distributed across hundreds of servers. Integrated caching. What is integrated caching? Just like to reduce latency and increase sustained data throughput. Advanced NoSQL databases technology transparently caches data in system memory. So these are the characteristics of NoSQL. Now we see where NoSQL is used. This is also an important part. I told you about the NoSQL. This is the technology which is really a recent technology, new technology. It is capable to fault tolerance. It is capable to keep track with the huge amount of data. So where we can use this kind of technology? You can use this is Google at the Google part, because everyone visited the Google page 1,000 times in a day. LinkedIn, everybody having an account on the LinkedIn. So LinkedIn also containing a million kind of data. Facebook, everybody want to be on social media, just like Facebook, Twitter, Netflix. Netflix is a very, very well-known organization. Everybody know about the Netflix. So Netflix also having a billion records, and all these kind of area. Who is supporting? NoSQL is in background, just to support their data, just to support their data history. Like Bigtable is for Google, Walmart is for LinkedIn, Canva is for Facebook, Hadoop Big Data, FlogDB, Canva for Twitter. So all these are very, very well-known databases, which is working in the background of all these systems. Just like Google, LinkedIn, Facebook. We don't know about who is working in the background, but it is supported, it is supported continuously. Google, Facebook, because Google and Facebook working 24/7. That is why I'm saying the all features just like distributed query support, integrated caching, and sharding, all is working 24/7 with NoSQL. Now come on the history. Look, you can see the history of NoSQL. It is launched, it is announced just like you can say it is announced in 1965, but not officially. DBM is released by AT&T Bell Laboratories in 1979. Lotus released it in 1989. But Graph Database, which is the type of NoSQL, and NoSQL in 1998 to name his lightweight, open source relational database that did not expose the standard SQL interface. And the graph database, which is the part of NoSQL, Neo4j, is started in 2000. So you can say this is officially announced in 2000. Between 1998 and 2000, it is officially announced. And after that, every year it is growing up. Just like in 2004, you can see the Google Big Table is started in 2004. Cloud DB is started in 2005. A research paper on Amazon. Amazon is also a type of NoSQL, which is released in 2007. And you can see the project Walmart started in 2008. The term NoSQL was reintroduced in early 2009. So this is the not long path which is covered by the NoSQL. This is the small history behind this. But in short, you can say the shortcoming of RDBMS, just like RDBMS is sufficient to store and manipulate all the structured data efficiently. But in today's world, the velocity and nature of data used over the internet is growing exponentially. So, as we can often see in areas like social media, the data used has no specific structure boundary. So, this makes unavoidable the need of handle unstructured data, which is non-relational and schema-less in nature. So, for RDBMS, it becomes a real challenge to provide the cost-effective and fast create, read, update, and delete operation, as it has to deal with the overhead of joins and maintaining relationship among these various data. So therefore, a new mechanism is required to deal with such data in an easy and efficient way. This is where NoSQL comes into the picture to handle unstructured big data in an efficient way to provide maximum business value and customer satisfaction. Due to customer satisfaction, NoSQL is growing up because according to the customer relationship, according to the organization and customer relationship, it is necessary. The database history is database history maintained by the user or maintained by the DBA. So the NoSQL is not a campaign against the SQL language, because it is not just like the SQL. You can say this is the not SQL. So NoSQL stands for not only SQL, it provides more possibilities beyond the classic relational approach of data persisting to the developers. So the NoSQL refers to the broad class of non-relational databases that differ from classical or traditional RDBMS in some significant aspects, just like most notably because they do not use SQL as their primary query language, instead providing access by means of application performing interface, you can say the APIs. So the reason behind such a big switch, or in other words, the advantage of NoSQL are the following: just because of high scalability and distributed computing, and cause of lower cost, cause of schema flexibility, cause of semi-structured database, cause of no complex relationship. These are the benefits of NoSQL. That is why it is the upcoming market. Okay, this is the history of NoSQL. Cause of RDBMS shortcoming, NoSQL introduced in the market, and it is growing day by day. It is growing day by day and it is growing according to the year to year. Next is cap theorem. It is recently known because this is the part of NoSQL. NoSQL working on this system. Consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. So, they published by Eric in 2000. The theorem is a set of basic requirements that describes any distributed system, not just storage or not just the database system. It is describe any distributed system. So, let's imagine a distributed database system with multiple servers being used by an outside person requesting information. Here is how the cap theorem applies. Look, need of scaling up, down, out is growing, and so are the challenges of dealing with huge distributed system, because this system required these kind of characteristics. So according to the characteristics, cap theorem containing three parts: consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. Consistency is just like all the servers in the system will have the same data. So now using the system will get the same copy regardless of which server answered their request. Second is availability. The system will always respond to a request even if it's not the latest data, or you can say it's not a consistent across the system, or just a message saying the system it's not working. Right? This is called availability. Next is partition tolerance. Look, the partition tolerance is just like the system continues to operate as a whole even if individual server fail or can't be reached. So theoretically impossible to have all three requirements met. So a combination of two must be chosen, and this is usually the deciding factor in what technology is used. Look, every database system or every technology is based on two different systems, just like you can say the ACID and base. Okay. So this is the part of cap theorem where it is showing what is in cap, what is in NoSQL, what is in RDBMS. Look, in RDBMS we do not have P. P is just like partition. This is called network partition. In RDBMS, it is the lake of the system. It is the drawback of the system. So the consistency and availability are achieved by the RDBMS, but P is not there, just to support consistency and availability. But in NoSQL, you can see the P part, the partition part is there. Need to select either C or A. Just with the system, with the NoSQL system, there because P is there, it is necessary to have A and C also. So in the cap system, you can say the ACID is a set of properties. You can see in this system, this is the part of NoSQL system, and you can say this is the theorem. A is for availability, C for consistency, and P for partition tolerance. But it is containing the combination of AC, AP, and CP. What says the combination? The AP says that each client can always read and write. Okay. What says the P? The system works well despite physical network partition. So each client is available to see and is capable to read and write both. Consistency says all clients always have the same view of the data, because it is necessary. There is no discrimination between the data display. So all clients must have to see the same data same time. What is the ACID versus base? Look what I'm saying, because ACID is a set of properties that apply specifically to database transaction. Because in every database system, it is necessary to have some track with the technology or with the transaction. Because in the transaction area, in the transaction part, it is overdue to keep track with the transaction when you are doing some transaction. So that time database must support your transaction. So in the ACID system, ACID is a set of properties that apply specifically to database transactions. Defined as follows, just like ACID says the atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Fine. Atomicity is known as everything in a transaction must happen successfully or none of the changes are committed. This avoids a transaction that changes multiple pieces of data from failing halfway and only making a few changes. Consistency is just like the data will only be committed if it is passes all the rules in the place of the data in the database. Just like data type, triggers, constants, these kind of isolation. Isolation is just like transaction. Transaction won't affect other transaction by changing data that another operation is continuing on, and other user won't see partial result of the transaction in progress. So this is called isolation, because depending on isolation mode, it is necessary, because if two users working on the same track or two transaction is doing one by one, so it is necessary to hide the information from each other. Durability. Once data is committed, it is durably stored and safe against error, because crashes can destroy your data. Crashes can destroy your transaction. So once the data is committed, it is durably stored and safe against error, crashes, or any other misfunctions within the database. Now come on the base system. What is base system? Actually, NoSQL is having base compatibility. There, RDBMS and all other systems having ACID personality. So the NoSQL having base compatibility, because base is different from ACID. Base is working on, you can say that ACID is commonly provided by most classic relational database like NoSQL, SQL Server, like this. But base is for NoSQL. This is known as basically available soft state, eventual consistency. So with a massive amount of data being created by modern companies, alternative databases have been developed to deal with the scaling and performance issues. And just like NoSQL database are what these alternatives are called, because many do not support SQL as a way to query the data. So NoSQL is there just to perform on that kind of data, just to perform on that kind of databases, cause of base compatibility, because it have the alternative which is known as base. So we can say when it comes to how safe committed data is, any ACID complaint system can be considered reliable, but most NoSQL databases don't infringe ACID and vary in how durable they are with stored data. So we can say the NoSQL terms are not useful, you can say more practically, but NoSQL gives a simple key value based data, simple key value based data model with no support for transactions across multiple data items and relationships, because it is containing base compatibility. NoSQL does not use SQL because this is not a kind of SQL system. Okay, so so the NoSQL system is just not like the SQL, because SQL was designed to be query language for relational database, whereas NoSQL is designed for relational-based database. This is, you can say, the schema-less database. Relational databases are usually table-based, but NoSQL is just like the column-based. NoSQL records are stored in row and column management, whereas SQL records are stored in row and column management, whereas NoSQL records are stored in the column management, in the bunch of things. Okay, so both are different from each other. NoSQL are more flexible. Why it is more flexible? Because it is containing the partition tolerance, cause of partition tolerance, cause of scalability, cause of durability. This is different from other technologies.